Cell phones off? Okay, I'm on the phone. Are you set? Don't need to talk. Where do you want to start? You want to start over here on these guys. Okay, we're ready. We've got a picture, and Kevin is about to start speaking now.
Welcome to the band panels of the Left Forum's Deep State track. I'm Dr. Kevin Barrett with a bad sore throat, so I'm going to go as long as I can today, hopefully till the end. We're starting out with a very, very important panel, a panel on thought crimes, and this is the panel that was supposedly not banned. We originally had two unbanned panels, and 3 banned panels, but at the last minute, they banned the panel on censorship. So, here we are in John Jay College, the same location as the Left Forum, just kind of down the long, long corridor from the rest of the Left Forum. The secret location was just announced this morning, so they couldn't ban this location too.
They're coming with a mob.
So we'd like to start here by thanking the people who made this possible. This was an amazing technical endeavor to try to do this live simulcast from this location. So thank you so much to the tech crew, Humuk and Joe Friendly, and all the other organizers, some of whom would like to remain anonymous for various reasons, including the omnipresent harassment of people who bring this kind of information to the public. So thank you to all of them. I don't know which ones are willing to be named, so I won't name any of them. First order of business, we spent $1,500 or so on putting this together. And if anybody can help out to defray those expenses, we're going to pass the box. Would be much appreciated if you guys can kick in a little bit. And all of our audience who's watching this on the live stream, and perhaps on the archive afterwards, there should be a donate button available to you as well. Okay, well, let's get going with our censored information that we're not allowed to present at the Left Forum, beginning with this wonderful topic of censorship. Political correctness, the dangers of the thought crime police. Well, we've had a run-in with the thought crime police, and here we are. Survived it. So let's introduce our panel here. I'm Dr. Kevin Barrett, and I'll be back for future panels, and somebody else can introduce me. I'm a banned academician, run out of the University of Wisconsin for talking about 9/11, and you'll hear more about that later. But our two main panelists for this particular panel are Jeremy Roth-Kushel and Professor Anthony Hall. Let's start out with Jeremy. Jeremy Roth-Kushel is, he's got a broad background in politics, from local to international, office holder to activist, experience in media jamming, guerrilla journalism, consensus building in deep politics, economics, and ecologics. He's working on a documentary called September 11th Uncoverage, based on a decade of research into the 9/11 cover-up. He's put public figures across the political spectrum on the record and in the spotlight with his guerrilla media interventions, interviews, and amazing stunts, some of which have to be seen to be believed. His journalistic encounters include Michael Hayden, John Yoo, Joe Biden, Eric Holder, Mike Pompeo, Chris Kobach, Ron Paul, Alex Jones, Jay Rockefeller, Jill Stein, Amy Goodman, and more. He's also produced and performed hip-hop and future roots music for more than 2 decades. While at Williams College, completing his BA in religion, Jeremy founded and over the next decade taught an original approach to music education called hip-hop empowerment. His students were of many ages and backgrounds, from Bronx to Boston, South Vermont to South Central LA. And he continues to collaborate and coalesce around a transpartisan, permaculturally informed, integral politics with the radical middle. What are you doing at the Left Forum?
I guess that's why we're here.
All right, well, he was banned for good reason then.
Yeah.
Roth-Kushel
I used to be left.
Okay, yeah, he's left, he used to be left, now he's just left out. Rob Kushel is developing scalable plans for an American Renaissance based on assembly culture, deep democracy, and cooperative entrepreneurism. So take it away, Jeremy Roth Kushel.
Thank you so much, Kevin, Dr. Barrett, for introducing us. And thank you so much to all of the organizers and Humuk and Alan Rees at No Lies Radio for pulling all of this together and for all the support team. I just want to give a shout out to all of us who came together here to honor the best of all of our wisdom traditions, whether religious or secular. The best way to handle our differences and to seek communion with knowledge is to get together and talk. So here we are, the dialogical approach. I'm going to be presenting about something that happened to me about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, last May, where I was arrested at the Kansas City Public Library at a public event open to the public. In fact, the attorney of Kansas City, the city prosecutor at that point, Lowell Guard, when he was looking for video evidence from the library in terms of these charges, he said that these recordings depict events which occurred in a public place at an event open to the public. And yeah, sure. And so the concept of what I'm going to be talking about today is, I believe what happened at the library was the Palestinification of the entirety of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And I believe that it's an indicator of what is coming in increasing fashion if we are not courageous enough to step into these difficult spaces and protect the very first amendment of the Constitution. As the executive director of the Kansas City Public Library System, Crosby Kemper III, called it. And I believe that's true. The First Amendment is first because it's most important in many ways. Because if we don't have the ability to have our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own commitments, religious commitments, we can't speak, we can't assemble, we can't record and broadcast our message to other people, then what are we going to create? So here's was the announcement. This was in the Kansas City Public Library's their website. It was, this is how I found out about the event. I then RSVP'd to the event, to the library under my name, and then I went and met a friend, Greg McCarran from Kansas City there, who I do a weekly radio show called Antidote Radio on No Lies every week. And it's because Greg was there and courageous with me that we actually have the press, the documentary coverage of what actually happened, rather than erroneous accounts. So May 9th, 2016, Dennis Ross, the former ambassador from the United States to Israel, was presenting a lecture called Truman in Israel. It was co-presented or co-sponsored by the Jewish Community Foundation of Kansas City and the Truman Library Institute, which is a semi-private, semi-federal organization linked to the presidential library systems. And yes, next slide. So we're going to play the video now of what actually happened, so we can all be on the same page together. So this is not